What's in your cup?
My youngest daughter is a marine biologist. That's what she always wanted to be. And so this cup is what she gave me. I love the penguins. When I go up there, I get to play with the penguins and stuff. And being Italian, my favorite penguin is the macaroni penguin. So it's with me every day. It reminds me of my little girl. She's 26. She loves what she does, and very proud of her.
What's inside?
Just water. Try to stay hydrated, and there you go. So we'll sip together. Here's to you.
Cheers. You are currently a county commissioner. Why should you be elected?
Well, the good thing is being an American, people can vote their conscience. So, you try to give them as much information, but I trust people to use their head and use their heart, and vote accordingly and stuff like this. I was raised in an Italian family in New Jersey, so my conservative values, which you hear all the time, were fundamental to the way I was raised, as a family. I served my country for 8 years in the Navy for airplanes from Uncle Sam, and I was very proud to wear the uniform, and I salute all the other veterans out there and families that supported us and when we were deployed. I bring to the county a very broad base. I come from the private sector after the service. And so I bring a very broad base of business experience, really from coast to coast. I started in the business in Seattle and watched Seattle grow, and then the Midwest and Cincinnati, all the same company, then back to Florida. And so I have a pretty good feeling for how markets grow, how people assimilate other, diverse communities, and what are the geographies and what they represent. So I think I bring that, to the table. I've been working with the VOCC for a year and now, which is hard to believe. And so it's a great team of people. I enjoy working with them. I think they enjoy working with me. And so nothing like on-the-job experience, I guess, you make that transition from the private sector to the public. So I feel very comfortable, in the position. I've been endorsed by our fire and rescue teams, by the sheriff and 5 to 6 mayors. And I think hopefully that's a testament that, I've worked with some good teams in my life that they've entrusted me. And I hope that, those others. And really, Lisa, if you call my kids and ask me, give me one quote from your dad, I always said it's all about the people. So I truly do care about the people of Lee County, and I hope that gives them at least a small inkling of how I think, but the vote's up to them.
Do you think that more needs to be done for local businesses that have been impacted by COVID-19?
Absolutely, and one of the things that I've been really involved in the last number of months is the CARES program. That was money that came at a very opportune time. As you well know, unemployment insurance was slow in coming. Other things from the federal side, well-intended but very cumbersome. The CARES Act came, to us, and we came very fast. We broke it down, and we looked at it in a couple different ways. One is how do you stabilize the family? How do you make sure they've got rent, utilities, and child care and food taken care of? And the feeling was that if we could stabilize the families, then that was good for the families. So the employees were ready to go back to work, and the employers were getting somebody that could go to work and focus on the work. That was phase one. The phase two was the rehire program, and that we put a number of grants in place to help people bring people back. And now we're actually moving to a third phase here, and we've been very diligent with the money, so to make sure we didn't run out. We're now expanding the categories that people can apply for. And I will tell you that the team at Lee County did a great job. There were 3 counties nationwide that were asked to propose how they set this up. And fortunately, the team at Lee County was one of the 3. So I feel good that what we did was well received and we could share it with others. A lot of people hurting out there, and small business, as you well know, is the backbone of our community. And I think the other side, Lisa, getting back to work, is people want to have purpose in their life. And that purpose gives them hope for them and their family.
Do you think Lee County is doing enough to slow the spread of COVID-19?
Well, I think that we took the approach of education, and we broke this down 1,000 different ways. I think the challenge for all of us is, what is the right data? Are we getting the right data? And we're all learning from this, from the CDC to the hospitals, and we're in touch with them every day. So are you doing enough? I certainly hope so, but you have to measure it all the time. I think all of us, it's interesting to go to an establishment. What I like is an establishment can be part of the issue. You go to a door and it says you have to wear a mask when you go in there, put a mask on, you go in, and that's respecting their wishes. I've seen more and more expecting that as opposed to saying you can just walk in and do whatever you want. I think Publix is a great example. They take a good example of they're wearing their masks, they're cleaning a lot. And so I never go into a food store without putting a mask on, out of respect, if nothing else, for them and the efforts they're making, and certainly for the people I come in contact with. So we're all learning. And I think in any situation, education is the best part.
What are your thoughts on a mask mandate?
I'm not in favor of a mask mandate. It may come at some point in time. I think there's a couple things. There's always two camps, and there's those that feel very strongly about putting a mask on, and there's, as you can see in the news, this is your business. There's a group that doesn't want that, and you have to listen to both voices. Everything we do is a balance. It's like when you talk about the virus, you also have to talk about the economy, as you and I were talking about. And what's that balance between shutting things down and inflicting down on people, and what is the balance between the economic situation? I think it's the same to some degree with masks. I'm seeing more people voluntarily put masks on because I think it's become more acceptable. I think there's an awareness of responsibility to yourself and to those you're in contact with. And when people are doing it for the right reasons, the other issue is if you mandate it, can you enforce it? And I'm sure you've heard of that before. I've asked my neighbors, would you be comfortable going up and telling somebody that they don't have a mask on? Oh, no, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. So what do? Well, call the sheriff. Well, as you well know, they're pretty busy. And for them to be the mask patrol is very difficult. If we educate and people buy into it and believe in it, I think that's the best way.
Where do you stand on giving money to corporations?
I think it's a very slippery slope in some ways. Now, especially for a market this size. I've been in commercial real estate for 40 years. So I've been in Seattle, I've been in Cincinnati, I've been in Tampa, I ran the state of Florida for CB. When a company wants to move to an area, everybody's looking for incentives. Okay, we simply can't compete, dollar for dollar with, say, the state of Texas, or something like that. They are so money rich that you can't do that. And I don't think the monetary piece is the most important piece. The number one question when people want to move to a market is, where's my workforce and who are they? And I think that's where our focus needs to be. It needs to be ensuring that we have an educational process that's moving people through the system, that we can explain to company, here's your workforce. And our best recommendations in any market is always the companies that are here. They made the choice to be here, and like My Shower Door, they're a great company and they're doing all the right things. Another company wants to come in and they want to talk to them, they will tell them the best of who we are, and they'll tell them where some of the challenges are. But that's the best recommendation. So I think giving money, as we have in the past, and before my time, not that I'm going back to that, is got to be very careful with that. And I think if you are going to put money in, it has to be on a performance base. You can't give it up front and hope that it works out. You have to put some measurements in place and then go from there.
When you think of Southwest Florida, you think of our gorgeous, amazing, wonderful beaches. The beaches in Lee County are incredible. There's so many waterfront properties here. And so my next question is water quality still an issue that's top of mind for you?
Absolutely. I think a lot of us came here. Now, you're from the state of Florida, you're born and raised here, so you've enjoyed it all your life. I came from New Jersey, but we used to go to the shore up there. In fact, it was 1 year ago today that I got the call from the governor because we do a family vacation at the shore. So I grew up surfing, I grew up kiteboarding, all those type of things. I love the water, and it's an economic piece for us, but it's also a very personal piece for us, and so it's important. What I'm encouraged about is that we're seeing great alignment between the federal government, the state government, the county, and the cities. And I think when you get everybody pulling in the right direction, we can get things done. So the big projects obviously are going to take place above the county level, but the ones at the local level, that's when we're very careful that that we have to go to septic to sewer, identifying those where the issues are with septic to sewer, and tracking those very carefully. We're working with the water school and other universities about where's the sourcing of these nutrients coming from, so we can identify the sources and we can address those. The thing I'm most encouraged about is that we've got a lot of young people involved in this. And that's how we sustain this going forward. They're involved at a young age, whether it's cleaning a beach, being in the water, taking samplings. They're the future, and the better they understand that, the more encouraged I am about what the future is going to be. But 2018 is still a vivid memory for us, in the algae. And I do think there was an blue-green algae task force meeting yesterday, and I think there was some additional money, dedicated from the government to that. So, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I'm struggling with no football this season, and as a Gator and something like this, no, I think that I feel for people, everybody, people that are doing well and trying to help others, people that are struggling and looking for help. Um, but as you said, and I think as your network says, we're better together. And the more we reach out, the more we think about ourselves, how we can help each other, I think the faster we'll get through this. And there's a lot of pain out there still, but hopefully we'll get through. There's no question about it. And maybe we'll even look back and go, we learned a lot. And it goes back to the education piece. The more we learn, the better off we'll be. Well, I appreciate you and the network taking time to do this. I hope it helps people decide. We've got the primaries coming up not too far from now. So, as they used to say in baseball season, around third and heading for home, and I hope that I've earned the votes out there to continue.